So welcome everyone. Good evening and welcome into our second meeting of our Acknowledge workshop. Let me share the screen. So I ask you to present yourself and to tell us where do you come from and your preferred pronoun, your association, and one word of gratitude. Make sure that we can have all this information on the screen. And I'm Sabina Santovetti, and this is going to be our program today, the second part of our program. It's going to be on embodying the matriarchal goddesses and rematriating our Western culture by talking about modern matriarchal studies. So the program is going to be a little welcome, and I'm going to present myself, and then we're going to have a little breakout room moment. I have written you an email in which I put on this email a film to watch. It is about matriarchal modern societies, actually the Maso Society. It's a beautiful film by Francesca Rosati Freeman, and she actually gave us, prepared for us the English version, and it was put on the internet just for us. So, I mean, it was a very big present that she has given us. So we will have a little moment in which you will share what you think about living in a matriarchal society. And then we will start a presentation. Like usual, I always start with a little opening of a grounding and meditation. And then we're going to have a part one in which I will be talking about embodying the matriarchal goddesses, the sacred wisdom in mythology, landscape, and culture, and the rise of patriarchy. And this is going to be a 30 minutes presentation. It will be then a little break, and then we will have the second part on the modern matriarchal studies. So it is going to be a long journey. We have 2 hours of information. So let's start. There is a few little things that I want to share with you. Don't forget that we have the info pack and the press letter. They're available either in the Best Up website or in matriculture.net. Or in, not in the Dancing Goddess, but in the other two, you can find the info pack and press letter if you haven't found it so far. So this is something that it's important for you to read if you still haven't read it. And this is, so you can, I don't know, Maria, if you want to put those websites on the chat, I would really appreciate that. And okay, just a few words about me as a facilitator in this project. Last week you had Francesca Lulli, anthropologist who has been working with Shidi and with me and with us in the last 2 or 3 years, and this is when we prepared this project together. Knowledge, and knowledge is really about ancient knowledges, and in this ancient knowledges we're really talking about matriarchal societies, about re-looking at history. And I'm an art historian, so my first degree was in art history at the Sorbonne. I got all the way to a PhD. And then I decided to become an architect. So most of my life, I've been working as an architect until 2018, in which I had a big haha. And I actually entered into Extinction Rebellion. You can see two of my pictures of me in the middle of the street in Mestre on the left, and in Rome as a rebel. And that was for me a moment really of change, because I realized that the world was on fire and Extinction Rebellion was on fire too. I mean, they started big demonstration on climate emergency, and we're still on climate emergency. But so, I mean, it was for me really a moment in which I realized that I had to change my path, also for my children, for my son, because if you start reading any IPCC report, you realize that we are really in a very difficult moment, and it's getting worse and worse. So I don't want to depress you, because I mean, I'm very optimistic in the sense that, you know, we are activists in hope, and we do our best with love. But you know, we work as activists, and I'm apart from being an activist, I'm also a feminist. And in this time, I went back to school. I did a master in ecological design thinking, and I opened a school. And this is where you can find this school in Narni, in which with Francesca and many other people, we are organizing courses. They are non-formal education. There are places in which we sort of facilitate moments also of healing, of coming back into, you know, connection to Mother Earth, and to what is, you know, the journey to be in a different model of society. So this is really what it is, in a few words, who I am. I've been also facilitating the Work to Reconnects, and we do courses in the Work to Reconnects. So this is also an interesting thing, that if you don't have any information about that, maybe you can check it out on the website. And this is also another facilitation of healing practices. So talking about, I mean, my journey, and last but not least, I want to talk about the Academy Hagia, the Mother Matriarchal Studies. And that was really when I realized that all of the art history that I had studied was really not the real history, because in the last 50 years, you know, having academicians that were women, you know, the history was rewritten. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. So let me go into maybe our next moment. So I'm going to stop, and you're going to go into breakout rooms for a few minutes. And I'm going to ask you in couples to talk about, I hope you looked at the movie. The movie is really an important part of this journey. So, I mean, I cannot give you all the information about matriarchal societies, about what is happening and what is the new story and the new culture. But it's important that you, when we send you information, that you can take your time and maybe look at it. If you haven't had the time now, please, in this time that you're going to be between now and when we're going to be meeting in May, please look at this movie that was done by Francesca Rosati Freeman. It's a beautiful movie of an hour and a half. You can invite your friends and do it, and maybe look at the movie. I mean, it's quite an interesting experience to see how there's still cultures that live in, you know, that they are matriarchal and that they live in peace. Unfortunately, the patriarchal system is pushing them very much. So I don't know how long they're going to be staying. They're going to be lasting, but we want to recreate something like that. Maybe different, because, you know, things change all the time, but probably egalitarian, peaceful, and with all the values that a maternal society, a matriarchal society has and has had for a long time. So please, I will, the question is, what is for you matriarchy, you know, and maybe afterward you can come back and share a few thoughts. So I will put you in rooms. Okay. So how many are we here? 26. So that will make 13. And here you are. So you have about 6 minutes, 3 minutes each. And well, first of all, you tell if you had the time to look at the movie, and if you haven't, well, maybe you can share what does it mean to you to matriarchy, which is a very big issue. See you in 6 minutes. I want you to just ground yourself, put your feet on the ground, feel the ground, imagine that you are grounded. And then you take a big breath. And I would like to read you a beautiful poem. I, who am the beauty of the green earth, and the white moon among the stars, and the mysteries of the waters, I call upon your soul to arise and come unto me. For I am the soul of nature that gives life to the universe. From me all things proceed, and unto me they must return. Let me worship, be in the heart that rejoices. For behold, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence within you. And you who seek to know me, know that your seeking and yearning will avail you not, unless you know the mystery. For if that which you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. For behold, I have been with you from the beginning, and I am that which is attained at the end of desire. So we give thanks that we are here together. We give thanks to the opportunity to be together. And we reclaim the feminine energy, wisdom, and knowledge for all our relations. Blessed be and blessed do. So thank you all for being here. And I will start this journey with you, talking about a wonderful woman that has changed the history of history. So I'm going to start by asking you and everybody, how can the goddess have a body? And what is the goddess? Because the goddess is Mother Earth. And the goddess is everything that surrounds us. And this is what is the sacrality of old, ancient, matriarchal societies. So Maria Gimbutas, who was born in, at the beginning of the 20th century, she rediscovered through archaeological materials that existed societies, a civilization that worshipped Mother Earth, great goddess, and was a civilization in which women were, the matriarchies were part of the reality. And this civilization were egalitarians. It's not about leading one on top of the other. They were holistic, egalitarian society. So these realization in the the second part of the 20th centuries were one of the biggest discoveries. So this reemergence of the great goddess through these archaeological discoveries it was also, the realization that, humanity was not only, they were not only warmongers, but for thousands of years, there were societies that were peaceful. And so the history was starting to be rewritten. So let me introduce you to her for 1 minute and just give you a moment in which you will hear her voice in one of her talks that she had in Los Angeles.
This religion was the celebration of life energy, the life force that fuses male and female, generating life and accepting death as part of the cycle of life. I say, not male or female, but both together. And we happen to live in time which is the end of an era. The end of 5,000 years of what James Joyce has termed the nightmare. And the end of the 20th century, a century of wars, tortures, and massacres. As Thomas Berry says, we have to reinvent the human species or perish. We must re-examine history and start putting back some parts that we have left out, namely the earth, the body, the feminine, and the unconscious.
So, I mean, you had just a few minutes of Maria Gimbutas in this wonderful talk in which she presented one of her major books, The Goddess Civilization. But these are the fundamentals of what happened during, the beginning of the 80s and 90s, in which, a new awareness started to become, to take life. So let me go back into our presentation. So why the goddess? The goddess is everything, is everywhere. And I wanted to start this talk with you because in general, we talk about what are matriarchal society, what is matriarchy, but beyond, what is matriarchy or what are matriarchies, there is the concept of the sacrality of Mother Earth. And being an activist in Extinction Rebellion, I think this is the fundamental that we need to enter into a realization that if we don't respect and we take again into account that everything, everywhere, there is a sacrality. This is the body of the goddess, that nature and everything that surrounds us is sacred. And it's not man above everything, but it's everything that surrounds us that is sacred. But these things, the old ancient population knew about it. And when we look at prehistory, when we look at what was called prehistory, which in reality, it's really history in itself, because it's not prehistory, it's the history of humankind. We realized that there were cultures that were living and lived peacefully for thousands and thousands of years. And these are some of the places, 4000 BC, in which these cultures lived. And they were cultures of the goddess, and cultures in which the sacrality of the feminine energy, it's not about women or men, it's about the feminine energy is at the center of everything. So the intellectual heritage of Western civilization goes further back than we have previously acknowledged. Because when we talk about history, we imagine, we start by, talking about the invention of writings, which in reality was invented way before. And that also the history that is being told to us has left behind some parts that were the old Europe. And this is where old European, characterized by the dominance of women in society and worship of a goddess. All of this was discovered in the last 50 or 60 years. And it's been very hard to get into the common education that these are the new facts that needs to be brought back into school, into education. So these cultures were matrifocal, they were probably matrilinear, they were agricultural society, and they were egalitarian and peaceful. So, I mean, it is quite important to realize that, it's not true that, humankind is made of individuals that no matter what are sort of angry warmongers. There were societies that were peaceful, and there were all societies that were very fond of everything that surrounded them. And in this goddess, in reality, is the goddess, which is also the relationship and the sacrality of women, but it's also the sacrality of everything. So this is really a paradigm shift that is happening in many, we will see, is happening all around us. And for example, even the ecological movement is looking at that, not knowing that, they are bringing all of the matriarchal values into the story. So the body of the goddess is, in these stories, is the story of all of these populations that were living in 5,000 or 6,000 and even all the way to 30,000 years ago, and were matriarchal. So, I mean, the history, the back history is really goes back to time. So we have that as part of our culture, and we need to rediscover all of this. And these were societies in which the lunar phasal and the seasonal cycles of birth, death, and regeneration were part of the culture. So we've lost all of this because we've lost the sacrality of what was, what is the culture of women, the feminine culture. So this is old Europe, and this is what is the theory of Maria Gimbutas. And these were populations that lived in peace and were very peaceful all throughout the Upper Paleolithic and Neolithic. But then, there was a moment in which all of this started to collapse. And this is when, in reality, the patriarchal, the Indo-European invasion started to change the situation. So all of this civilization perished, and it took thousands of years to happen. But still, I would like to point out very, very quickly that these information are not taught in school, and this is already something very, very serious, that we don't know this. So I mean, Maria Gimbutas was one of the precursor of this new history of a society in which the images of self-regenerating goddess and the function as giver of life, wielder of death, and regeneratrix were, the source of all of these civilizations. So here you see where they started. These are the book that changed my life, and I would like, if you want to take notes, The Chalice and the Blade and When God Was a Woman, were books that in the 70s have changed, many, the history of, our society. It was the beginning of a new realization that all of this had happened in the past. And it took quite a while for academia to accept all of this. And I have to say that still today, the patriarchal academia has a lot of resistance for all of this discoveries. So to discover that something once existed allows it to exist again. So I mean, my hope is that we start to be aware of all of this, and we can start together to create a new society that is more related to the egalitarian societies that have existed a long time ago. So these societies, as we say, we are so used to substitute. It's either God or goddess. It's either patriarchy, and patriarchy, if it's not patriarchy, is the opposite, is matriarchy. But in reality, when you start to think psychically, when you start to think with a different mind, with a mind that is not linear and it's not as rational, you start to imagine that maybe there is something else. And there is this something else is the religions that were actually religion based on the body. But the body is not only the body of a woman as this creatrix, but is also the body of nature. And nature is everything. Nature is everything, is what, some people call animistic religions, in the sense that we worship everything. And man, as a human being, is not above everything, but nature is the sacrality of everything. So this is really what we are talking about when we're talking about matriarchal societies. These primordial mothers were, were really the creatrix of a mother society. So the world of the goddess is a world of knowledge and ideas. So they were not, prehistoric. They were not savages, as we've been taught in school. That prehistory, everything was before history. Everything was people were like savages. They were cultures. All of these cultures were very sophisticated, and little by little we are discovering them through archaeologists, and especially through the archaeologists that are women, and are bringing all of this into light. So these are some of the drawings and some of the books, of Maria Gimbutas, and some of her discoveries. So her insights were revolutionary, because it was really about rediscovering a new language and a new history. And here we have again, this is the area in which this population lived. And these are some of the timelines, to some of the maps in which you see going back to 32,000 years, in which you find that these cultures existed and in which the goddess was part of the civilization. So Maria Gimbutas, in reality, the brilliance of Gimbutas was in her interdisciplinary capacities to find information. So she was able to discover all of this because she combined archaeology, linguist, and folklore and folk traditions, mythology, and Indo-European history to give birth to this theory that in reality there were peaceful populations that lived peacefully around old Europe, and then they were submerged by what is they were called the current population, the Indo-Europeans populations that invaded Europe in three waves in the fifth millennium, fourth millennium, and third millennium. So here you see the timeline. These we're talking about thousands of years. And these are some of the discoveries of this beautiful civilization. So if we think about prehistory as a story that goes from 3 million to 3,000, and then we go into history, so we only have 5,000 years of history, and this history in reality is the history of the patriarchy, is the history of man and mankind. And we are here. This is the book of Maria Gimbuta, The Civilization of the Goddess. This is the book in which she presented, and you saw a few minutes of introduction, and some of these beautiful primordial mothers that for a long time they were considered either Venuses or sort of abundant women, and never considered as goddesses. And little by little, this new history is emerging. So here you see the old Europe again, and this is the theory that was actually the current theory is the theory of Maria Gimbutas, in which these population, they sort of moved into this part of Europe and actually arrived and destroyed and killed everyone. And this is what is the initiation of the patriarchal values and history. So these population, they start in the steppes, and they were actually running away from famine. They were running away from sort of climate change, and they had horses and chairs, and they were worshiping gods and had priests. And little by little, they entered into this part of Europe, and through violence, they destroyed all of this old civilization. So this is how the story, said in a few words, happened throughout 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years. And this is what happened. And it was a slow patriarchalization, but it was inexorable. And this is what happened, and this is what is happening today. So the invention of patriarchy is a very interesting element in the history of humankind, because it's a set of values. So for a long time, we have thought, that patriarchy, and until the concept of patriarchy was about something like the concept of the father's power, the man's power. But in reality, the critical theory of patriarchy happened only in the 20th century, at the beginning of the 21st century, with the work of women like Claudia von Ferloff or Gerda Lerner, and feminists that realized that it was, patriarchy was a structure, was a structural, institutionalized, and cultural framework. And this is makes a big difference because it's not about, it's not about gender. It's about a set of values, and it's like a story that is being told and retold for hundreds and centuries, in which men and women have been subdued into this new story. So the story starts from a peaceful story of matriarchal civilization that worshiped the great goddess into a story of power, violence, and separation. And no matter which gender you belong to, you was worshiping one male god. So this work of reaccreditation of the sacred goddess has never stopped through the ages, but the patriarchal culture continues to use its entire means to hide and denigrate the feminine aspects of nature. And so it is time to acknowledge, and this is where we come as an acknowledge project, experience the pain and see it with new ancient eyes. Choose our personal contribution, walk through it and change it together as men and women. And so let me just give you a quick idea of what is God the Father at the top and the patriarchal values that are into our societies. And let's look on the other side onto a goddess mother society. So I would like you to just take a few moments and just look at this image. And then I would like you to, I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to share a big blackboard or whiteboard. And I want you to write on this board, what are these values, patriarchal values? Because I mean, I wrote a few of them, but there might be more than that. So it would be nice if we create together this whiteboard. What is patriarchy for you?
I don't know if it was written because I didn't have the time. Sorry, is it time to speak?
No, it's the time to write.
Okay, sorry.
Or if you want to write, if no problem. Can you write? I think you can either take, you can take the text, or you can put the something on it. You can do whatever. Rush. I saw somebody writing rush, but rush. What is rush?
It's always been a rush.
Okay. Patriarchy is always being in a rush. What do you mean by productivity? Productivity. So you can go and write productivity. You can go and click on the text here, and then you can write. Okay, so I see judgment. I see rush. I see war. Yes, I can see war. Let's put greedy. Dominance. Rationality versus, okay, rationality versus, I can write for you. Rationality. productivity, rationality, judgment, separation. I mean, oppression. I mean, oppression of who? Oppression of everyone. Emotions are not valid. Yes. Extraction, control. What is patriarchy? What are the values of patriarchy? Net power. No, what is this? Power. Karina, can you do something more? I mean, I love it. Karina, can you click? And I don't know, I don't see, maybe you can click on the text and write it like this. Linear thinking, yes. I would say violence and abuse. Extraction, imposition. Fear. Oppression of women, thank you. Control. Appropriation, anger. Interesting, anger. Karen, okay, let's see. Life. Why life? Patriarchy is life. Emotions are not violence and abuse. Greed. Ownership. Yes. Sexism. Manipulation. Distanciation from life and nation. Merchandization of everything. Power over. Yes. Productivity. Well, productivity is patriarchal. Productivity in what sense? Merchandization of everything. Yes, I mean, commercialization, power over. Itzacautli. I mean, somebody's writing in their language, and it would be wonderful to have a translation. Anxiety. Dissolution of self. Wonderful. Individualism. Manipulation of self-conception. Well, yes. Violence, war. Did we write war somewhere? Hierarchies, we did. Rationality versus emotionality. Distanciation from life nature. Merchandization of everything. Productivity in the sense of everything that someone does have to have value. Every minute has to be well spent. Yes, I mean, it's very... Thank you, Gail. Okay. Let me see. Narcissism, manipulation, cult of the leader. Yes. Cult of the leader, and also, I mean, it's a hierarchical society. So it's a pyramidal, it's a linear. Somebody else said linear. Yes, anxiety. Let's see here. No. World unsafe for women in physical, emotional, and expressional way. Inability to fully enjoy or savor any aspect of life, sharing it with others. Dissolution of self, linear thinking. Okay, I would say that we have, if you don't mind, I think that if I will remind Maria if she can save this chart. If you have anything else to write, please do. What is patriarchy? Okay, well, not bad. Wonderful. Well, this is not, there's not a right or wrong answer to this. You continue. Jacob, you're very happy doing this. Francesca, I mean, I will ask you to stop. Can Maria save this picture, or you want to write something so important that... Maria, you done? Can I go?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I can turn this off. Okay, chiudi la lavagna. Okay, wonderful. So you had fun. So this is for you time to think about what we are talking about. So it's really about, these are all food for your thoughts, food for your thought. What is patriarchy? And like, what are matriarchies? What is patriarchy? Patriarchy is very important that we start to develop, a critical sense of what is happening. And it's not only about confronting ourselves as gender issues, because it's not about gender, it's about values. And these are universal values that can be changed. So, I mean, if we want to think about a new paradigm, if we have to imagine that we first need to see what is the image that we have, and then maybe see what can we propose. And also in relationship, the proposal is also in relationship to civilizations or societies that have existed and that have brought a different picture, or a different model. And when we are talking nowadays in ecological movements of indigenous cultures, a lot of indigenous cultures, not all, are matriarchal. And so let's go back into, let me see, what time is it? 9:07. I would say after this little game. So we're back. So we had like greed, violence, individualism, domination, exploitation, hierarchy, scarcity, separation. So the domination of the fathers. I would say that in this image, it's very important also to underline, the sort of, we have the erasure of all the feminine gender. I mean, the enslavement of women, in which, God is the father, God is the male figure. So when we're talking about matriarchal societies, we are talking about societies that are mother-centered, but that doesn't mean that mothers are above or sort of using power over. They're just mother-centered. They're balanced society. They use gift economy. It's very important that we feel that these are society in which life is sacred for everyone. Reciprocity, community, love, and regeneration, which is really when we're talking about mother. I mean, what is the love of a mother? A mother, something that is, the mother is really the example. Even though today, I mean, even the patriarchy has been exploiting the idea of mother and also abusing also the idea of what is a mother. So there's a lot of work to be done to reconnect everything and all these pieces of trauma that has been going on for 6,000 years. So let's see what is the next. So we have 5 minutes break. If you want to go and just maybe drink a glass of water or anything, I will see you in 5 minutes.
Sabina,
Sì, sono io.
sono Luna.
Ciao Luna.
Ciao.
Aspetta che spengo. Hello. This is part 2. I mean, please find on the chat some info that Luna has put in the chat for you to know. And let me share the screen again. And we go with our second part. Okay, so the second part is what are and why are matriarchal mother studies relevant in the cultural history of humankind. We talked about the meaning of patriarchy, dominance, and the rule of the father. And we're going to be talking a little bit more of what are matriarchal societies, what is the meaning of matriarchy and the matriarchal mother studies, where did they start from? So, I mean, starting from this deep time walk into 100,000 of years of history of women, but also of the goddess, I would advise you to check these two books, When God Was a Woman and The Chalice and the Blade. They were written in the 70s. And I mean, I was a scholar at the Sorbonne. I studied art history and archaeology, and nobody ever talked about these books, neither of Maria Gimbutas. So imagine, that, the bias that exists on, the history and archaeology of humankind. But in the last 50 years or more, or maybe 70, ever since women have been allowed to go to university and to enter into studies, because for hundreds of years, this was not allowed except for a few cases, the studies have, women have started to change the history. And in all fields, not only in history, but all fields, because we have also a different eye. So it was a different eye, a different way of seeing things. And these are the books that I would suggest in looking at if you're interested in matriarchal societies. And these studies in the modern times, they are led by a woman and a scholar, Dr. Heide Göttner Abendroth. And you had the pleasure last week or 2 weeks ago to also meet Genevieve Vaughan, that she's the foundress and also the scholar that has created this theory, which is called the maternal gift economy. But everything is based on these the history and the realization that these matriarchal societies have been using gift economy ever since they were a matriarchal society. So that's really important. And here we have, Society of Peace was 3 conferences in which finally in 2000, at the beginning of the 2020, 2003, 2004, and 2011, if I recall well, there were 3 main congresses in which scholars from all over the world came to talk about these matriarchal societies, and they are societies of peace. So these are some of the societies still existing in around the world that are in in Mexico, the Yucatan, in Mosuo in China, the Kazi in India, the Tuareg in Africa, and the Iroquois or the Hopi. That many people don't know that the Constitution of the United States is founded on a matriarchal constitution. So these are the places around the world where still there are matriarchal society. So the Mosuo in China are just this small society of about 40,000 people that live, on the Himalaya, for example. But we have the Minangkabau in Indonesia, and this is a matriarchal society that has existed for since the beginning of times, and they count 6 million people. So I mean, how many people know that the Minangkabau is a matriarchal society, or the Tuareg? So these societies are being rediscovered, even if with time the pressure of the patriarchal society is little by little killing them. So they're still, in existence, but they have been very much intoxicated by the patriarchal system. And here we have Heide Göttner Abendroth with her books. And so this foundation of a new science, which is called the Modern Matriarchal Studies. And the founder of these studies is Heide Göttner Abendroth, that founded this academy, which is called the Agya Academy. Some of us, I saw other people that have taken her courses. It's a 3 years course in which you become lecturer on matriarchal studies. So first of all, let's start by saying that matriarchy is not the rule of the mothers or women. This is exactly what people think of, but it's really something else. And we will find also, we will understand what is the meaning, the real meaning of matriarchy. And these studies, they started actually in the end of the 19th century by Johann Jakob Bachhofen, which wrote this book, which is called Mother Right. But still, all these books were very biased by the patriarchal mindset. They were written by men, and it was very difficult. So it took quite a long time to be able to have some serious studies on matriarchal societies. And this is the work of Heide Göttner Abendroth, especially, but also of other scholars. So let's go to the meaning of arche, matriarchy. So the first meaning, that is a meaning that comes from the early philosophers, the pre-Socratics. Arche means in reality the beginning, the fundamental force of all things. That's what arche is. And for example, water was for Talete, Thales, and air for Anaximenes. So these, the word means in old archaic Greek, it means beginning. Later, it became, the meaning changed into domination. So we have matriarchy in reality is at the beginning were the mothers. So the starting point is arche. It can be, but it can also mean the power over, or you know, the domination. So it has different meanings, but the first meaning was really matriarchy was at the beginning were the mothers. And this is the book by Matriarchal Societies of the Past and the Rise of Patriarchy. Is a very important book by Heidegger Abendroth, in which she talks about all of these cultures around Europe and Asia in the past. So, I mean, when we think about matriarchy, it's not only mothering as a biological parenting. It is mothering is interpreted in matriarchies as a cultural model of egalitarian, consensus-based, need-oriented societies that prioritize care, nurturing, and balance resource distribution, contrasting sharply with patriarchal hierarchies. So for Heides, in how this work, the definition of matriarchy or matriarchal society, the new definition of matriarchy was not produced in abstraction and thus projected onto the field of study, but it was developed inductively, step by step, through analytical observation of these societies. So she analyzed the four societal levels, the social, the economical, the political, and the cultural, to give the appropriate definition of these societies. And she studied throughout all of the world these societies to have and concentrate its meaning into these four categories. So at the social level, the matriarchal society are non-hierarchical society of kinship, whose main feature are clan organization based on matrilineality, the kinship in the mother's line, matrilocality, the residence with or near the mother, and at the same time, the genders are valued equally. So there is gender equality. At the economic level, these are societies that are balanced economic mutuality in which women manage the basic goods, such as the land, the houses, the food. But they have no right of ownership, but on distribution, and they pay constant attention to balancing the economy through equal distribution, such as an economy that has the quality of a gift economy. At the political level, these are societies that use and represent consensus with the political basis in the clan houses. So where decision making takes place and with a system of male delegates to the diverse councils outside. So the males, they have important roles as delegates. This gives the men no power to decide over others, but gives them their own sphere of activity and social status. In most cases, the systems result not only as a gender egalitarian society, but as also as a fully egalitarian society that uses consensus. And in our course, we're going to be talking about what is consensus and how to work with a consensus methodology. At the cultural level, it is obviously the matriarchy are based on a sacred culture in which there are no aloof male gods, but where the worldview is defined by the feminine divine. So the energy of the feminine is divine. And in this way, at the cultural level, women, mother, and children are safeguarded. And it is a very important element, the fact that everything is sacred and the feminine is divine. So as we say, the definition of matriarchy, the necessary condition required in order to speak of a matriarchal society are that there has to be matrilinearity, and in the economic realm, women's power over distribution of the goods. And at the same time, gender equality prevails, expressed in the principle of consensus in decision making from which no one is excluded. When these features appear in an existing society, one can speak of a matriarchy. this is what is a matriarchy for Heidegger and Abendroth, having studied all of these matriarchal cultures that actually define themselves as matriarchal. For example, the Minanga Bao define themselves as matriarchal. So for modern matriarchal studies, matriarchy, reclaiming these terms, means to reclaim the knowledge about cultures that have been created by women. So it's very important to use this term. Even it can be, you know, tricky, and it can give, you know, people, you know, sense of, you know, of it's bias, because patriarchy, matriarchy, but it's very important. First of all, I mean, I use it all the time also to open up a conversation. When you start a conversation with people and when you use the word matriarchy and you see them that they sort of are, you know, they have this unbalanced look, that means that, you know, you are open, you know, this opens up a space for a dialogue. So modern matriarchal studies means regaining our heritage, rewriting human history, which, you know, I just very quickly told you a little bit about it, but I advise you to read at least one of those two books or any of the books by Heidegger and Abendroth. I mean, there's many books that you can read, but it will be really interesting, especially because we've lost, all this education has been lost because we haven't had it in school. And this was the kind of knowledge that we should have had in elementary, in middle, and in high school. These are the basics of history. So we need to reroute our human history, and we have to acknowledge interdisciplinarity, because this is what it's all about, you know, the world, you know, matriarchal studies. So define the term matriarchy as the beginning were the mothers. This is what it is. And it's in the past and also in modern matriarchies. So, and also this enables us to define patriarchal origins and patterns. So, I mean, the patterns of patriarchy as values is very important if we want to dismantle it and create a new paradigm. So, this is really about creating this new paradigm through, you know, matriarchal studies, through the reflection on patriarchal values. These are the essence, you know, of a new society. So reclaiming this term means to reclaim the knowledge about cultures that are being created by women, and it's really important that, you know, we regain some sort of breath. So mothers at the beginning, and not, on the other hand, patriarchy is translated as domination of the father. So, I mean, I would say really the beginning, remember, this is really arche, it's really about mothers as the source and not, you know, as domination. So to recap, I'll say that these are egalitarian, matriarchal, sacred, or mother-centered societies. They're not women dominant. They're not mirror images of patriarchy. They are the egalitarian society from which we evolved, matrilinear, matrilocal, and matrifocal patterns. It is very important to relate to that as spirituality-based society, because spirit is the first thing, the last thing, and everything in between. So this is really about regaining the sacrality of Mother Earth. I mean, we are destroying the Mother Earth, and this is, you know, climate change, everything that is happening because we have lost the sacrality that existed in relating to the planet and to all the living things and beings that live on this earth, and not only human beings. So the undergirding, overarching spirit of being is not like the other tenets of matriarchal society. It is the unifying force that shapes socioeconomic structure into egalitarian as opposed to hierarchical patterns. So this is really important to be. And when when you enter into that space, this is when you start healing, and that's where you start to sort of regenerate. So the structural tenets, again, matrisocial, gift economy, consensus politics, and subsistence culture. It is very important, the subsistence cultures, because, and this is what we need, because the world is on fire. We need to think small, start to really think in bioregionalism, start to think in a very different way. So no aspect of matriarchal life is exempt from the animist spirituality, which holds all of us members of largely earthly and cosmic families. So, I mean, this is the clan house of the Minangkabau, of a Minangkabau society in Indonesia. And again, the matrisocial, the social factor, remember, matrilineal, matrilocal, and matrifocal. This is what, you know, differentiate any other society. And it is interesting if you could really make an effort to look at that movie, that In the Land of the Mothers. It is a very interesting, important testimony of how a society can be different, and it's really important that we have an eye on all of that. So, I mean, gift economy, there was Francesca has been talking about maternal gift economy and gift economy, matriarchal society, and this is why we talk about very deeply about gift economy, because in matriarchal society, the redistribution of wealth happens through ceremonies, through feast events. And so, they are opposed to trace. And this is so important. It's very important, so that, and all the goods are distributed evenly by the matriarch. So, I mean, it is important that we see gift economy as a very good element of a subsistence society, in which, you know, dependent exploitation are not part of the equation. So, I mean, this is the main important element. I mean, if you want to have a society that is healthy, you need to have a culture that it has basically is living in a lifestyle that is about necessary resources and not about surplus accumulation. So this is really what are matriarchal societies. And these are all thoughts that we need to start to reevaluate all of these things, because we are going towards, you know, I mean, climate change and what is happening is really bringing the world into a situation of tragicity, and we need to find solutions. And well, these are matriarchal men in the Mosuo. I mean, again, I mean, if you had the chance to look at the movie, there's beautiful interviews of these men that are quite happy to be men in matriarchal societies. And they are not at all subdued. And they are very, you know, they have very important roles. I mean, the role of the father in matriarchal society doesn't exist, because the father is in reality is not a figure. I mean, the father is the family is in the clan, in the mother clan. So usually children are raised by many mothers, by the brothers, by the uncles. So it is a very different system from the, you know, our system, in which we have this figure of the father and we have the nuclear family. So the family is a completely different nucleus, in which the clan of the matrilineal group is the main society, is the main group that holds everything. So that is the real family. The family is composed of mothers, sisters, daughters, brothers of the matrilineal family. And this is very different from living in a clan. And this is very different from our patriarchal system. Matriarchal women are, you know, you have these are the society. They're the keepers of the culture and of the spiritual life, the healers, the priestesses. They are, you know, all the women are the social mothers. So there is not a mother, but everybody, the children are all raised by social mothers. And so in their family home. This is a scheme of the festivals and of the activity, the celebration, the lunar festivals and the solar festivals that are happening in general during, you know, these in these societies. And you see all the you know, the system. We had this in our calendars, in our agricultural past, but they're little by little, they're all disappearing. So again, is in conclusion, we remember egalitarian, consensus-based politics, spirituality-based culture, and subsistence-based gift economy. And these societies, they produce the longest lived society with the greatest resilience and quality of life yet known to anthropologists. So for me, this is a very important element that brings us to ecology and ecologists and what is happening in movements like the ecological movement or the eco-village movement, of which we are part and which we are giving also courses, the SHEDE, the Eco-Village Design Education. And when we look at their dimensions, I mean, and what is happening in these societies that are trying in this ecological world and eco-village movement, they have been looking, not knowing, at matriarchal societies very attentively. So, I mean, comparing these society, we see that, you know, these values that we looked in matriarchal societies have very, you know, they're very similar to a sustainable ecological movement that wants to change, and also to this paradigm shift that we want to make. Consensus is one of their way of working. Well, the ecology, which is a very strong part in the ecological movement, in reality, in matriarchal societies, they don't need it because they are already an agricultural society. So they really don't need to sort of transition into an ecological world. So we have to retransition into this sphere because we lost it all with the industrialization. But otherwise, these societies were already ecological in itself. So, I mean, that's the basic difference. And I have just, you know, written a book in which I am comparing all of these movements with the mothers, and you can find this little booklet in our website, matriculture.net. So anyway, let's see, what time is it? I would like, yes, we have the time. So let me get you. So again, I would like you to go and to share in couples for maybe 10 minutes. So how are you taking steps? How do you envision a change? What do you think that we need to do to make it happen? What resources do you identify in yourself for personal development related to this topic? So maybe it's really about a little conversation between you and the person who is in front of you to sort of start a dialogue in what is really that we need to do to make this paradigm shift happen. Because of course, we're not going to go back to, to the matriarchal societies as they were, because, the evolution is, history is moving. We are different people, but, we need to find solutions. We need to find other strategies. And so what we are bringing also is we are bringing something so that we can find other ways. And is it possible that, we have, again, a mother-centered society? Is it possible that we create, together an egalitarian, peaceful society? And so this is really about just having a little conversation between you and the person in front of you, and I will call you back in about 10 minutes. Interesting insight before I go to the closing.
Should we share something? Can somebody hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, what was very interesting, I was watching the structures and the sketches of the women that time. All of them, they had a fabulous body, they had a stomach. I don't know who told us to have a stomach is not to be beautiful. I was just, I was just seeing all those pictures, and even they were from South Africa, no, South America, from Europe, from Egypt. They all have something in common. The woman has this beautiful stomach, round stomach. So that's something which I was looking, I was saying, wow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The culture of scarcity towards the culture of abundance. But anyway, anybody else wants to share something?
Sabina, can I share
Sure, you can.
what was we were talking a little bit, like this being afraid of of making a mistake or not knowing enough, and how we were talking about that this is really part of the patriarchy, how we are so afraid that we don't even listen to things, and we don't share, like we're not sharing in here now. You were all sharing, and I'm not saying you're doing bad. No, no, no. It's what I'm saying is I'm recognizing it's okay to be afraid, because uh, a lot of times we were punished, or we were not nurtured or received or contained when we made a mistake or an error, or when we needed new something. And that's so still, and we were speaking about it, so embodied that we don't even understand that we're doing that. And sometimes we don't go for things that can be really amazing for us and learning a lot of things, because we are so afraid of the mistake. And actually, I'm living that with my daughter, and I never told her that she's having a mistake, but this is still the patriarchy system. So what I want is that that she doesn't live it anymore, and I want to stop feeling my body to be afraid of making a mistake and not going and not receiving, because I'm so afraid of making a mistake. So that's what I think matriculture should be, and the first step is to receive and to nurture.
Thank you, Sophia. Yes, because we were in this. Some people just jumped in the main room, And that was, we were talking about this, you know, I mean, we're talking about, you know, then I forget to tell, you know, and actually it's not about forgetting, it's that you need to build a trustful container, and it takes time for us to trust each other and not to feel, but we live in a society that everything, we are always judged, and so we're always judged for being right, and that, you know, if we have the wrong answer, there is no right or wrong answer, there is an answer. I mean, you give an answer and it's your answer. So I mean, we're not in school. I mean, it's not we're not in school, we're not in a place in which there's going to be, you know, a mark. I mean, you're not going to get A, B, C, or D, uno, due, or whatever. But you can share, and these are time, you know, these are moments in which you share your thoughts, and your thoughts are so important because they belong to all of us. They are, you know, our common culture, and it's very important that each of us is doing that for the sake of each other. So, having said so, can somebody tell me, do you have any other sharing to do? You know, no right or wrong, please.
I could say something.
Please.
You hear me?
Yes.
When I read, before all, I'm here for the first time, and I don't know much more than what I've heard now from Sabina. But when I did a lot of like feminist work throughout decades, and also I'm an environmentalist, so let's call it ecofeminist in a way. So when I think of the questions that you put, and when you said, how do you envision change? Even though I thought about it a lot, like lately I'm getting like more not so enthusiastic like before about the change coming soon or at all, you know. So I was a bit like surprised by my own reaction, that was that I like don't have enough, not enough, but I don't have a lot of trust or faith. I don't know, uh, like elation about change coming soon, at least not on a global level. Like I have a feeling it should be very much grassroots, like small communities, and then like a little step by little step, and then so I just wanted to share that. It's not so much, but still I think it's important that we talk about it, at least for the first. And you are one of the rare people that I really hear it talking about it. Like I hear somebody structurally talking about it and doing stuff. Here I'm from Croatia. We had women's studies. Actually, we have them still, and we have them for 30 years. But in the last 10 years, it degraded so much, you know, because of the pressures of the society and aggression and, you know, fractions within the feminist movement. And I don't know how to bypass that. But like, I'm very afraid that things are going backwards, you know, not forwards. So sorry, it sounds negative, but like,
No,
yeah,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much for your sharing. I mean, I hear you, and please, I think what you're saying is very, very important, substantial. You haven't said anything small. You said something huge, huge, because I mean, we have to start probably from small, and create a lot of little islands of sanity, like Margaret Wheatley says, you know, islands of sanity, little islands of sanity, thousands, millions of islands of sanity, each of us doing its own little job in their own little bubble. And all of these bubbles are going to create, you know, a world. So, I mean, what you're saying is huge for me. I mean, so thank you. And I'm really sorry to hear what is happening. I mean, there are parts of the world in which things are really going very, very bad, and there's, it's really understandable that you lose faith. So, but I mean, we try, to keep up with active hope. I mean, and
Thank you. Yes.
really, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting us to putting us together.
So, anybody else? I see no. If anybody wants to share, I mean, we're gonna have time together in the 10 days that we're gonna spend together. There's gonna be a lot of time to sort of share some of our thoughts and some of our, our emotions. And so I'm gonna go back into the presentation, and so, I mean, for bibliography, if you want to, there's two websites. We have resources and publication in these two websites. So you can check them, and if you want to also go and see the previous acknowledge recordings, you go in Dancing Goddesses on YouTube. There is a website. I will write it later, or maybe if Maria, you can write it down, I would really appreciate that. YouTube channel, Dancing Goddesses. And having said that, I would like to just invite you that our next event is going to be on Thursday, April the 2nd from 6 to 8 of Central Europe time, and it's going to be about you. So I want you, each of you, to prepare like maybe a couple of minutes of presentation of yourself. What are you doing? A lot of you are already, facilitating and doing activities. So what, your presence is precious, and we need to know everything about you, because, and you and your group. And then if you have any question about logistics or question on Q&R or things that you need to know, that is the time. So, I mean, I'm hoping that this is going to be more like info project, info time together, and also time to know each other as a group. And so, having said that, I'm gonna go back, maybe, I don't know if Luna wants to say anything.
No, I already shared in the chat what is needed, namely that all participants should buy their travel tickets as soon as possible. But before buying them, please speak with your group leader just to check that you are inside the budget limits, etc. And yes, budget limits. And that's all. I will send you a recap email, as always, tomorrow or the day after, also with the link to re-watch or watch the registration of this meeting. And that's it.
And if you have any particular question that is urgent, that we know, that you can ask it now.
And please keep all the receipts of your travel documents, receipts, boarding passes, everything, and send them to your group leader, and then they will send them to us. And as I wrote in the chat, for Polish participants, please send all the receipts via email to us. Leaving in copy also logos, of course.
Okay, so I mean, we can say goodbye. I mean, we were 17, we were 26. It's always, got ooh. And so one word of I don't know, whatever, gratitude. I like gratitude with active hope. Let's be hopeful, even if the world is on fire. I mean, I'm always hopeful because I trust you all. I mean, I'm so excited to be with a wonderful group like you because all of you, one by one, you are changing the world. So you are making the difference. So please, don't forget that, together we can really make it happen. So, and it's not by ourselves, but with everyone. So I'm very grateful. I'm going to start my checkout by saying that I'm so grateful that you're here because I know that you can change the world. And I pass it to Luna.
Thank you. I agree with you. And my word, that is not a word, is looking forward. And I pass the ball to Diego. Diego Fraga.
Yeah. Eh, I don't know what to say, honestly. Maybe I thank you just for just teaching us these meetings. Maybe I pass the ball to Lena.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very grateful as well. Even though I've heard some information, like again, it's always very inspiring and yeah, reminding myself again and again that this is really like, yeah, something very important and that I really also want to embody it more and more in my personal and own life. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the meeting in person and presence. Yeah, also like to get to know you personally. I'm passing to Thomas.
Thank you. It was nice, very rich. I learned a lot of things. And my word is care. And I pass it over to Karen. Maybe I pass it over to Sophia.
And I was thinking, I cannot have a word only. I feel it's like cooperation heart-centered because it's the heart that leads her to cooperation. That's my hope.
And you pass the ball to?
I forgot. Oh my God, it even looks that I don't know this. I pass to Marta is the new one, Portuguese one.
Marta, you're muted.
I think she's trying, but she's not being able to unmute. Okay, we can pass to other person. Oh,
No.
yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Well, it's not a word too. It's I think we can trust our inner knowledge is what I felt about all this. Is my first time here. Thank you.
Tens que passar alguém. Qual é o teu nome?
Eu não consigo ver as pessoas, não sei.
Passa para o Rui.
Mas é que
Recebido.
eu não consigo.
Sorry for the Portuguese. It was easier.
Okay,
She
we
passed it to.
understand. But there is Mia that has her hand lifted. So Mia, what do you want to say? Pass the ball to Mia.
Hello. Thank you for being so patient with us. I just want to show you that this is right now. We are still with you and we feel very helped just by having this conversation and being part of it. We are right now living life and family first, being sick on the sofa while being with you in the community. And so our word is love. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you so much for being with us. And so I pass it to Sergio.
Yeah, I would like to thank you all. And my word is actually support. And the first of the support we all giving to build this container that otherwise wouldn't be possible. And it's very hard to find so many people so online and like-minded to be able to hold such a space. So thank you all. And I pass the ball to Francesca.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you to you all. My work is a mutual support. I like it. Thank you. But
You pass the ball.
I pass to Barbara.
Rui. I think that
Hi everyone, thank you again for this beautiful evening. And I think that my word is a verb, so an action, and it is envisioning. And I pass the ball to, who's left? Mir?
Rui.
Rui.
Yeah, can we? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all of this moment and sharing with us. It's a gift for me because it's like I'm starting to have more conscience about this theme, and I really grateful. And my word, maybe it's not a word, it's 3 words. It's like the gift of life, because it's the more important thing that we have to sharing and learning each other. It's like that. Okay, thank you. And I pass to Sabina, Marta, Barbara? No, Karen?
I think there's Karen, but Karen, are you there? I don't know. Karen is muted, but she's not there. And Mia, did you talk, Mia?
No, not for checkout.
Okay, so Mia, your turn.
Thank you. I have similar like Rui feeling of have gotten a gift. This almost an accident that I actually came to this meeting and heard what I heard. My heart is warm and wide, and I got an active hope that you mentioned, Sabina, and I liked very much the words of you also said like islands of sanity, so that would be my word, and I'm greeting you all from an island in the Mediterranean, so islands of sanity sounds very good to me. And I pass it on to did Sophia speak?
Yes, I think we all spoke except Karen that is gone though. No, Karen is in there. So I think we all spoke. So thank you so much, all of you, and we'll see each other on the 2nd. Prepare a 2 minutes presentation of yourself, and also, I mean, we're gonna be in groups, so we're gonna divide each other in groups. So Italy with and Spain and everybody. Mir, you raised your hand, so there's some questions.
Yes, regarding this next meeting, this preparation of saying something about yourself and your group is only for the people who will be present at the meeting in April or May, or is it for everyone who attends?
It's for everyone because we still don't know. Where are you? Where are you from? I don't know. Maybe we can. We have to see also, because the idea that we could open this space to everyone, because for example in Sophia's group there might be women that are going to be coming to the in presence workshop, but then they are organizing events in Portugal, and they might be more than one person. So I mean, if you participate, okay, you see what I mean? So,
Yes,
I mean, I've asked also if there's more Italians, for example, that want to join, maybe they can join in the event. Luna, you want to say something?
Yes, because for the residential training in Magliano Sabina in Rome, in order to participate, in this case, I'm very sorry for that, but in order to participate, you should be from one of the country within the consortium, or you should reside in one of those countries that are Italy, Portugal, Spain, Germany, and Poland.
Thank you. I understand how the Erasmus things works. So
Okay.
I'm from Croatia, no problem. I just asked for the next meeting. Should I
You
also?
you can participate if you wish. I mean, we are happy if you want to participate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sabina, no,
I muted myself. So, okay, bye-bye. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. See you on the 2nd. Ciao.
Ciao.